All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio. And before we went to the break, we have Sir Jonathan Buffett on the phone with us today. And he's telling us about the big Tim Wilcox Memorial Cup that's coming up in November. And before we get into this year's event, you can run the card down a little bit for us. Tell us about last year's event and what kind of house you drew, and was there any problems?
Well, last year I did have, we drew, I'm going to say, right around 100. Maybe a little over 100, because in the end we raised, if I count the food and everything that people brought, like a can of food, right at $1,000.
Oh, good.
For this military family that was in need.
Right.
And I found an update about them. The guy had been deployed. He's deployed now, ended back into the military. He was paying basically the ultimate sacrifice by re-enlisting in the Army to take care of his wife and kids. And but he was on hard times. And so we helped them out. I hadn't met the guy face-to-face till I met him in the ring and shook his hand at the end of the evening. But the house was good. Crowd was hot. They, because we were giving them something that they had never seen before.
Right.
Talent that they had never seen, because they see the same thing over and over and over and over again in this area. And, and that's the reason the area gets burnt out.
Right, absolutely.
As far as, promoting the show, I really put a lot of thought into it last year. I wanted everything. I wanted to basically punch the people in the mouth and have them talking.
Right.
Later on, that was good, and you should have been there.
Sure.
And, we had Santa Claus there, and actually it was Ace Armstrong. He played Santa Claus, and he got beat up. But I had, as far as the trouble goes with the card, I had a couple guys, 20 minutes right before showtime come to me, we're pulling a double shot, and we got to be in Asheville at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I actually had them on 8.
Right.
And I was like, crap. So I had to rest a bunch of people and tell them, you guys are going on first.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Jonathan, the thing about promoting, and Charlie and I have had this discussion, and actually we had a big discussion about it a couple of weeks ago as far as promoting shows. And, I don't know if you know Charlie or not, he promotes shows, my co-host here. But that's the thing about running wrestling shows and promoting them is one of the reasons I said I would never do it, is because of the headache of dealing with the talent. It's not the problem of running the show and promoting it, it's dealing with the talent has been probably the worst issue of it. So, and I understand that you're thinking about getting into maybe some more promotion than these yearly shows. Are you thinking about going that direction?
Actually, yes, kind of, because I know that probably the majority of the listeners in your area will not be able to make it up there to the show and hear the announcement, but March 26th is the tentative beginning of a monthly show in Gastonia for Pride and Honor Wrestling, and I plan on, I've already reached deals with John Schuyler, B.J. Hancock, Derek Rise, working on Stoney on a regular basis, Abel Adams, Phil Shatter, the tag team of New Wave with Derek Driver and Stephen Walters.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm in contact with Team Maction, Kirby and TJ Mack, trying to bring them in. And then, I'm looking for more talent because I'm wanting to promote something that, again, the people have not seen here before. Charlotte, I know NWA Charlotte ran,
right,
but I'm wanting to give them something, just as good.
Right. And a couple of times now you've said you want to show people something they've never seen before. What are some of your ideas? Because I'm going to tell you, man, it's hard to do something that's never been seen before, especially in wrestling. What kind of ideas are you having there that's going to shake up the wrestling world?
Now that I really can't divulge everything that I have planned.
I respect that.
Because but I'm in talks, of course, with I've got Tim Dixon is going to be the commissioner of Pride and Honor Wrestling, and
right,
we're sitting down and discussing things and trying to do some things that are different. And of course, when I say in this area, I don't want to book guys that look like your next door neighbor.
There you go. Yeah, and I think that's very important. And Charlie and I have in behind the scenes had conversations about that exact thing. And that's the problem you get with a lot of these guys who want to get into business. Number one, they haven't been properly trained, and number two, they don't have any gear, and they just don't look like wrestlers. And I feel like to be a wrestler, you should carry yourself, as such. And you're talking about using people like Shatter and Team Action and those guys. Those guys carry themselves as wrestlers, and even though in the case of Maction, they're smaller guys, but they still kind of look the part. And I think that's very important, and I think that's a good jump-off point for your new promotion.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of promotions. I left a promotion 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
I went back last year because I've got actually a torn ACL, so I can't do. I'm limited to what I can do.
Sure.
Now.
Yeah.
I went back and did some ring announcing for them, and the same guys that were feuding 5 years ago were still feuding today. And that's just something okay, you've been keeping that up for 5 years, and that's the reason your house isn't getting any bigger.
Right. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, you're making enough just to get by, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
And you can't do that.
You're right. I mean, you really got to change up the game a little bit and use some people who bring something to the table, and I think that's key to the whole deal. Jonathan, we got about 3 minutes left here, and in that last few minutes, I want you to go ahead and get the big plug out, run down the show you got coming up in November, and give us any website information. And I also understand you had a couple of cancellations, and if people want to contact you to be on your show, how they can do that. Go ahead and give us the big rundown.
Okay, Saturday, November 6th at the National Guard Armory in Gastonia, North Carolina. The bell time is 7:30. Doors we're hoping will be open about 6:15. Tickets are $5 with a can of food, and under 5 are free. All the proceeds are going to go to benefit the Gastonia Crisis Assistance Ministry. Guys that are on the card that night: John Schuyler, B.J. Hancock, Stoney Hooker, Derek Rise, Tim Thomas. Tim Dixon will be there. Brett Wolverton, the ring announcer. You got the referee Josh Cash. Big Daddy Z's coming in. A guy by the name of Big Country is going to be there. Sweet Steven Stifler, Kimberly, Queen of Spades will be there. Loads of other people, but at the same time, I still need a couple guys possibly to fill in for the tournament. You can contact me via my email, and that is tarhilljb@msn.com. That's all lowercase letters. And JB stands for Jonathan Buffett.
Buffett, of course.
If you want me to, I can give out my cell phone number.
Well, I don't know if I would go quite that far. Do you have any email address, or is there any way to contact you?
That's the email address right now. Of
course, I'm sorry.
You can get me on Facebook.
Right, that's what I meant.
It's underneath the name Tim Wilcox. That's pretty much it. We're eventually here soon going to launch PrideAndHonorWrestling.com.
Oh, very cool. So you got your website on the way. But before that, you want to use that. Give me that email address one more time. Is it RL? What was it?
TarHilljb, TarHilljb@msn.com.
Outstanding. And it sounds like you got a good card lined up there for the program, but for anybody who wants to get on that show, they need to go ahead and contact you at that email address and get their name in the hat to be a part of the big event. Jonathan, it was great to have you on the program today, man. We really appreciate you coming on, and best of luck to you in your event. I hope you draw a huge house, and I hope you double what you. I think your goal is to double what you did last year. Is that what you said?
The goal was $2,000. It was $2,000 last. I hit that goal. I'm going to raise the bar even higher.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck to you, and it's for a great cause. And I encourage any of our listeners to head on up to Gastonia there and check out the big event. Where's it going to be at one more time?
It's at Gastonia National Guard Armory, and the address for it is 2100 Robinwood Road. 2100
Robinwood Road in Gastonia. Put that in your GPS and run on up there and support Sir Jonathan Buffett and the Big Tim Wilcox Memorial Cup on November 6th. That's going to do it for the interview portion of the program. Thanks again to Sir Jonathan Buffett, and we will be right back with more Inside Wrestling Radio coming up next.